Hello and welcome to the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 VRS Super Series live on Apex Racing TV. We're here for meeting 3 of this 10 meeting season. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Jack Canan, Marco Barbier operating the cameras. And Jack, it's very nice to have you back alongside me. We've managed to get rid of Austin and get a huge upgrade in yourself for this round 3 of the championship. We're at Zolder tonight, tight, twisty circuit. And we're using the alternate layout as well. So a bit of a wild card round, I think, for these drivers.
Yeah, nice to be back, Sam. I'm not sure if I'm an upgrade really, but sorry, Austin. Yeah, we're back. I did this series last season, actually. It was really enjoyable to do. And yes, the alternate layout, which was endearingly referred to by Marco Barbier as the fake Zolder. So there's a huge debate over that one, but it's unusual in the fact that it basically uses the exact same layout as the normal Zolder, except for the last corner, which right on cue, Mr. Marteau was going to take us right there, flat out through the last corner. So that's usually an escape road. It's now actually part of the circuit. The cars can go flat through there. So yeah, an interesting layout and definitely a wild card.
Yeah, my gospel is racingcircuits.info, and it doesn't exist on racingcircuits.info. It has never existed on racingcircuits.info. So, yeah, it is a little bit of a fake layout, but well done, iRacing, for including it, because it should open up that straight a bit more for the drivers. I think it should open up the overtaking opportunities into the first corner, so watch out for that one. I remember when we were in the Radicals last season, in the Radical Racing Challenge, wasn't quite flat out, maybe wasn't a great overtaking opportunity, but these high downforce, lightweight Formula 3 cars should be able to pick up the draft through that part of the circuit. We're currently in a 10-minute qualifying session, 5 minutes remaining, and the drivers should try and put in their best lap times. Then we will go to 2 heats. Half the field will be in one heat and half the field will be in the other heat, and the top drivers from each of those heats will be able to go through to the final. In fact, everyone will be able to go through to the final tonight, because we've got less than 30 drivers, but those heats still absolutely crucial to score plenty of points, and also in order to get yourself a nice starting spot for the final race, as Marteau just going faster and faster. He's currently 0.6 of a second clear of the rest of the order.
Yeah, he was looking really good in practice as well, Marteau. He was well clear of the rest of the field. He's currently half a second. He was the only man, I think, to nip into the 117s in practice. Plenty more doing that now as Arafag takes an excursion off into the gravel at turn 1. That's going to be an interesting one when we get all those cars into the first corner, line astern in the heats. Thankfully, it might be a little bit reduced when we have less cars on the grid for the heats, but the final will be definitely an interesting one. But yeah, it's Marteau, Redford, and then Amanda, we mentioned, of course, we have Daleman in third. Of course, he is Belgian. It's a home round for him, and we were surprised at how well he was going. But now look at his nationality, not really a surprise, Sam.
Yes. I don't know if there's some kind of bonus, because I just mentioned the Radical Racing Challenge, and last season a Belgian did win that, and there's like barely any Belgians in that, and we've got barely any Belgians here, so it must be a home advantage, perhaps. I don't think we visit Spa later on in the season, but I'm sure Daleman would like every round to be here. And of course, he was a very late start, so first attendance for him. And you can see he's punching above his weight. All those red backgrounds to the colours, they represent the amateur drivers, and all the greens represent the pros. And you can see it's fairly well defined, although Kelly absolutely ruins it, marooning himself in amongst those amateur drivers. But Daleman really quite far ahead, as Paulo Dreiter goes to the 3rd position. He won both races last time out at Imola. We had Hyman win both races back at Nürburgring, but both of those drivers just taken 1 meeting so far this season, so we think we might be able to bring up the points just up on screen. It's really anyone's to play for. 10 meeting season this, and so it could change a lot in the for the rest of the season, as we might be able to show, as the just kind of putting in their 3rd and 4th laps at the moment. There is the points. Oh, no. Let's get that away.
Let's not look at that again.
Burn it with fire. Oh, no. Someone's losing their job. Um, let's try to ignore that, Jack. Basically, the championship's very open. It's a very competitive order, and in these Formula 3 cars, the consistent finishes is what you need. I guess that's the case with any of these series.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see if you manage to catch a glimpse of it for the first couple of seconds. There we go.
Yay!
It was getting dominated by short name, and short name, but it's Paulo Dreita who's currently the top of the standings on 110. Conor Bell in second on 103. So it is very close already. Sivi Zabo, who was in the prototype series last time, but he's now moved over to F3, and then you have Marteau, who's the fastest man at the moment in qualifying. Will Redford, Westerhoff, Mertzel, McDonald. Kevin Kindelman, also a man who was in the prototypes, in the prototype championship. He's now over on the F3s, and Brunstad in the top 10. So you can see it is very close. It's anyone's game. That was now we move to the AM. Of course, that is splitting. That was the overall. Now into the AM, you have Kevin Kindelman at the top on 80, Brunstad on 77, De Silva on 76, as well as Boberg on 76. So it is very close in this early phase of the championship. It's only round 3, but even so, it is nice to see them all clustered together at the top of those standings. But it is currently looking really good for Dutch and Belgian drivers at the moment. We got 3 Dutch in the top 10, 1 Belgian in there as well. Obviously, they're not too far away from each other there, but yeah, it's Marteau currently the fastest, and Conor Bell in second as well. So Conor Bell, he's got himself well up the grid now. He's well in the championship fight, only 7 points off the lead in this early phase, but he is a row in front of Paulo Dreita, and that's what he needs to do in this early phase of the championship, just get more points.
Interesting, of course, they're second and fourth, so they'll be on the front row of the grid for the heat race, which will be very exciting to see those 2 drivers as we see. Jeez, that is absolutely terrifying. No wonder that's not a real lap, because imagine running wide there. You'd absolutely break your spine in 3 places if you crashed into the wall head on at the speeds that those drivers are going. Boaleg, apologies for the pronunciation, is in 20th place. He was super duper late. He had Dolman signed up late, but Buleg is even later. So that's why he, I think he was a bit late to the session as well, but super late registering for this race as well. But everyone's in now, and we got the grid up on screen. And it is Key Tiago Martu at the top of qualifying, followed by Conor Bell and Will Redford. Paulo Dreita there in 4th position. I think that's the qualifying results in the Heat 1 grid, which is currently happening at the moment. Because, in fact, we've got everyone on the grid. Apologies for this race, so we will just have the 2 races tonight, I believe. And that is the grid then. Yeah, Marte at the top, Bell, Redford, and Dreita 3rd and 4th. And then Dillman top of the amateur drivers, Brian Crone there in 6th place, Stephen Westerhoff in 7th, there's Dave McDonald, Christian Engelhardt, Daniel Siri-Sabo, and Florian Beer. Aaron Smith rounds up the top 12, then it's Simon Brunstad, Shane Dunn, Justin Negrit, Kevin Kittelman, Jordan Kelly, Ricard Boberg, Chuck Murray, Mohamed Balig, Damien McMullen, Daniel Silver, Rick Van Ackeren, Ismail Arafag, Derek Holland, Bryce Carter, Alexander Roggenbach, and Steve Brown rounding out this 28-car field. So a lot of drivers heading into that turn 1. Jack, we thought we might get a bit of respite, but this is going to be action-packed.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is going to be very hotly contested because top 12 go through, rest go to consolation, it seems, after this. So we'll wait and see in due course. But either way, we're going to get a race right about now. With a Dutchman on the front, Conor Bell, the Canadian, next to him, Redford and Dreita. Here we go for the first race of the evening, and we are underway at Zolder. Good start from Marteau, good start from Conor Bell as well, but a good one from Redford, who immediately puts himself to the inside of turn number 1 and slots himself up into 2nd place, gets that inside line there. Daleman gets up a spot as well into 4th place. So Dreita not getting the best of starts there, but a clean one from Marteau, and everybody being very sensible in this early phase of this race of the night. 15 minutes, of course, and top 12 it seems will make it through to the feature race of the evening. But good clean start from everybody, nobody costing anyone any time, and but Marteau nailed his start and did what he needed to do.
Yeah, as we get into this real bottleneck through the chicane, and well, at least the top guys managed to get through it unscathed. Not too much movement really, Justin agreed up a couple of places so far. So it goes side by side into another one of these chicanes, very much like Montreal is this circuit, absolutely scattered all over the place, just to slow the cars down up to really being an absolutely lightning fast circuit in the past this circuit. As Montoya, yeah, 7/10 of a second clear. Kisselman, the championship leader, with a little bit of a problem. He's dropping down to 23rd. If you're going off the circuit round this part of the track, then you are in trouble, as is Christian Engelhardt there, who waits a while. Of course, the finishing positions from this race are going to affect the starting positions for race 2. As we've got Connor Bell really under pressure from Bart Delman. Oh, Delman has dropped it, and it is going to hit the wall as well, and that might be game over.
Dear Lord, Daleman at home, he was looking so good. It just got a little bit too aggressive on the power coming through. Connor Bell ran wide. He might have got distracted by that. And, oh, we got another one, another crash in turn number 2 right there. They got through lap 1 cleanly, but that's Florian Bear and Rick Van Ackeren, I think, who were involved in that smash in turn number 3. By the looks of it, he's carry on. Another one happens immediately in front of them. That's another couple of cars. That's Kevin Kittleman now caught on the rear wing of another car, and they're not going to get moving anytime soon. He's going to drag him away, try to get away from him. But they got through lap 1 so cleanly. Now, that was Daniel Civi-Zalbo, I think he might have been caught up with in that one. Well, actually, no, it wasn't, because Civi-Zalbo was in 7th place. He's fighting with Steven Vesterhoff right now as he comes over the top of the crest. You can see the car getting loose, and Vesterhoff goes to the inside line. Civi-Zalbo slows down. Vesterhoff goes through Brunstad. The Norwegian also got through there, and a spinner again. Jordan Kelly's around now. What is going on in this second lap of the race? Jordan Kelly luckily doesn't hit the wall, but he gets back going again. Maybe just his pride hurt a little bit there, Jordan Kelly. But Paulo Dreta, he's under pressure from Brian Kroon right now, down towards turn 1. So I'll give Jordan Kelly the benefit of the doubt. You know, he's currently actually in the middle of the Nürburgring 24 hours. I doubt he's put too much time to an F3 car. He's been driving a TCR a bit too much.
Yeah, they're slightly different, aren't they? And slightly different circuits as well. So yeah, that is understandable. Many of these guys tend to juggle that. It's a shame for Kay, because with all the incidents ahead of him, he managed to get into the top 10, but quickly undoing that good progress. So the field really spread out. The top 16 separated, the top 17 separated by over 20 seconds already. We are just... Oh, Redford with a mistake. Oh, that is all by himself. He must have taken too much curb, I imagine. And now the cars behind and to... their wits about them in order to avoid him. So Will Redford, who looks like one of the big challengers to the race leader, as Crone has also gone off. And I wonder, that's a bit of a weirder place to go off. I wonder if he was helped around here, Brian Crone. He slowly gets back on his way. We're going to get a replay of how this one happened.
Yeah, he comes over the crest and goes for a move here onto the brakes into the chicane. No, it's all by himself on the curb. Looks like he just locked the rears going in. But seems people have been taking inspiration from Nikita Mazepin. What's going on today? Brunstad now, he's the lead arm driver, now trying to keep Will Redford behind. That's going to be a bit of a tough ask. Will Redford on the recovery after his spin. He goes up the inside into turn 1. No real fight put up by Brunstad right there. He's in a comfortable position at the moment, but settling down. Another move in the back. That's Chuck Morrow trying to go up the inside of his US counterpart Negrit in P9. Of course, this is P2 in the AM class. He's going to get a run on the inside now, down towards the back straight. And you can see Negrit holds on around the outside, but it'll be a nice run down into the next chicane for Chuck Morrow. Looks to the inside into the second chicane at Zolder. It's a high-speed chicane. They're going to make contact there. You can see that coming a mile away. The grid just turned in across him. Chuck Morrow carries on right there. And it's a very tight, narrow chicane right there. And unfortunately, it seems that he came off worse right there. But Chuck Morrow carried on. And we got another spinner. Add that to the list right there. I don't know who that was, but there was another car facing the wrong way in the third chicane, and the grid carries on, seems to have avoided damage. So despite all the spins, well, you're going to take to the gravel here, it misses his braking point a little bit going into the chicane. Despite all the spins, there's actually been very little damage going on.
Oh yeah, most drivers are still going, aren't they? And Negrite particularly lucky right there, quite tyre to tyre. It's very easy to pick up some steering damage from that, but yeah, that chicane just, it's not even an overtaking spot. I mean, I guess you can kind of just, you know, give the outside driver no choice but to turn out, but most of the time it will just be single file as Boberg moves ahead of Buleg, who's doing particularly well on his Apex Racing League debut. That's a little bit wide almost onto those treacherous curves on the outside. He has lost quite a bit of time. Here is Negrete again. Negrete, apologies, I think it's Negrete. He did correct me after my pronunciation of his name at the first round. So, apologies to Justin there. He is moving through the order nicely though. He's just got past Steve Brown, who's particularly slow right there. Maybe just picking his battles. Not feeling like he's going to have the pace to keep these guys behind. And now next up is Christian Engelhardt. And that is Engelhardt. Apologies to Negrete. They're staying ahead and just dropping down. Was that... I think that was a laps driver there, just dropping behind these guys. So still all going on. I'll say Kelly also having a problem, and now that is a tyre lost for Aaron Smith. He's had an absolute med, doing very well in the early stages for Smith. Had that collision through turn 3, and then since then it's all gone bad news for him. And well, they do get a fast pair in this series, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't re-enter the circuit for this race.
Go back to Buleg in P13 overall. He's actually getting chased by Van Ackeren at the moment, but nice to see a country that I haven't seen represented. In comes Jordan Kelly with damage on that car. But it's interesting to see a country that I haven't seen represented too much on the iRacing platform. Buleg represented Tunisia, so a new one, a flag that I haven't seen too much of. But nice to see a different area of the world getting represented, Tunisia and North Africa. So, and he's certainly representing them well. He's currently fifth in class at the moment, just ahead of Van Ackeren, and he's avoided all the incidents so far on his debut. So, done a good job, race of attrition so far, and continues on his way. He's about 3 seconds off the back of the Swedish driver Boberg, but I think he'll be happy with where he is right now, as we're on lap 7. As of course 15-minute race, we're coming up to about halfway about now. So meanwhile Marteau, he's gone. He's 5 seconds up the road from Connor Bell, so he's had no problems whatsoever. He's led from the start, and unless he joins the list of spins, I think he's going to be quite all right where he is.
Yeah, I think so. Just needs to avoid errors, and yeah, some very useful points looking like they will come to him. Van Ackeren's falling into the clutches of Engelhardt at the moment. He has had his fair share of off-track so far. Van Ackeren in the 1 minute 20s. Compare that to Marteau in the lead in the 1 minute 17s. You can really see the difference in performance, and you can see it visually as well for yourself. These drivers getting closer and closer. Of course, this series is sponsored by Apex Racing Academy, and I think all these drivers have got a subscription, a 1 month subscription to Apex Racing Academy, so many of them will be using the setups provided. As just glitching out for a second, there was Engelhardt, but he has got that move done. But if you want to improve your performance in the F3 car or 28 other cars, ranging from of course single-seaters, prototypes, GTs, touring cars, and even rallycross cars as well. Do check out apexracingac.com for more details, as we have a change for 4th position. That is McDonald running basically. Could that be a slowdown, you think, Jack?
I think it was, yeah. I think he took too much of the curb going in to the last corner, I think, and managed to get himself a slowdown. He slowed down on the way up the straight, and yeah, he just pulled over to the side and let them through. So I think it was just an error on his part from Dave McDonald. Had let them both drip past. No problems there for him. Just loses 2 spots on the way through. But Redford on a recovery, chasing after Westerhoff. Big hop of the curb right there. Nearly goes 4 wheels into the air on that curb. But he's set the fastest lap of the race on that previous lap, and they're on the pace of our leader Marteau. All on a 17.8 at the moment. They're about 3 seconds off the back of Paulo Dreta in 3rd place, and they might not catch up to them, but it's still only heat number 1, so they have to think about the feature race as well, and just grid position for the feature is the important thing here for these guys. As we go back now to Roggenbuch, who is on the back of Florian Beer, and a little bit ways up the road is Stephen Brown, but it's just the battle between these two Germans. fastest lap of the race for Connor Bell, and that time 17.7, 2/10 faster than Marteau. So he's keeping him honest, but Marteau made the gap early, while Connor Bell and Paolo Dreta battled, and that's been the key points for this. And it seems that Flying Bear might be caught up behind. Now, that's either a lap ahead or a lap behind that we're looking at right there. Florian Bear is trying to get past without causing too much of a problem. And Bryce Carter, who is a lap down, so he lets him through, and no issues after that. But Shane Dunn and Boberg, they're fighting for third in class, and also we could have a battle teeing up for the lead of the AM class as well, because Chuck Morrow has been chasing down Simon Brunstad, and you can see that's the car behind him.
Oh, I love that graph. You can see the gap is smaller than it was. The yellow lines getting incrementally shorter. That's not a massive decrease to be fair. I mean, it's putting by about a quarter of a second a lap, which is certainly not catching hand over fist, but seemingly enough. And yeah, that alternative bar chicane really does open up the layout, as we've got Bualeg there with a problem. Just going back on his way now, 40 seconds behind the leaders, as particularly close there was Maro. One more time at that time, well, probably next time around he's going to be in firing range to launch an overtake. Got to get done fairly quickly though, just got a couple more laps of this first race of the evening to complete. And also Brian Crone, who was running up in the top 5 earlier on in the race. In fact, he qualified in 6th. He had a good start, and he's thinking about going for the move into the chicane, but realises that would be a little bit too risky. Hasn't got quite the exit that he wanted, and Crane can see a P8 up the road, but he needs to get clear of the American immediately. Yeah,
and as well, the two in front of him are embroiled in their own battle for the lead of their own class, so he wants to get through and past them as quickly as he can, but it is a very hard place to overtake. That's Will Redford around again. He went into the back of Vesterhoff. There was contact between them, and Redford went into the back of there. I think he's managed to keep it out of the wall again, but he's going to have to wait for everybody to pass him there. So here we go. They come down the hill into the braking zone for the right-hander. That's Redford on the right-hand side. Does he try to get a cut back? He gets on the power. Oh, that was it. Vesterhoff got loose in front of him, and that unsettled Redford, and when he went into tapped him slightly, tried to get out of it, and he was unfortunately the victim that ended up spinning around. So it was Vesterhoff getting loose in front of him that caused that, and Will Redford unfortunately now has to try and make up all that ground. And there was Connor Bell was going slow on the front straight as well. So what's happened to the second place, man? Everything's happening. There's damage on the rear of that car as well. So let's have a look here as they come towards the towards the last corner. Oh, he's got it wrong in the last corner. That's a high-speed spin, and he almost managed to collect it, and he went backwards into the pit wall. Oh, that was you were talking about getting loose there earlier, Sam. There's your answer. What happens?
Yeah, a little bit of a bump as well, and Randy went. I thought he may have missed the wall initially, and then he managed to hit 2 walls. How he is still driving that car with so much speed is miraculous. He absolutely slammed into a concrete wall, and yet he is still going. Is Connor Bell, and he really wants to keep these positions. Just 1 point difference between 5th and 6th, but that extra position on the grid could be very useful. Just got one more lap to go, so we've got McDonald into the pits. I can only imagine McDonald's run out of fuel here and is having to make an emergency pit stop, or maybe he didn't serve a slow down, I'm not quite sure. Sumi Sabo takes advantage up into 4th position, and also Crone is ahead of both Brunstad and Mauro. He's managed to get past the pair of them off screen as Mauro goes for the move as well. Brunstad's going to be running wide, but Crone not far 4th position all of a sudden. This lap was, if this race was 20 minutes like the one coming up in a moment. But yeah, all change for those top 10 places.
Yeah, and that's how quickly it can change this. Morrow can sniff a AM class victory in the heats here. If he can get together a big hop of the curb from Brunstad. That time we got another car off on the outside line, not one for position though. Here comes Morrow, good run down the hill. Is he going to have a look? No, he's not into that chicane. They're catching a lot of traffic here. They're actually catching up to that big long train of Crone, Bell, Civi Zaba, but Here's a man who saw absolutely none of it. It's Thiago Marteau who takes the win in heat race number 1. Nobody came even really close to him today. And we're going to now, here's the move. Brunstad and Varro going at it for the AM class lead. Brunstad holds on to it now. It's going to be a run for the line, but he doesn't have the advantage of the chicane this time. This is going to have to be the bravest move in existence from Chuck Morrow. Surely he's got to back out of that, and he does at the very last moment. Surely that would have been a humongous crash if he'd carried on right there. Drayta is second, Vesterhoff is third, Sivizabo is fourth, Krohn recovers to a top 5, Connor Bell limps home in 6th, Brunstad gets the win in the AM class, and Chuck Morrow in 8th, and then we have Redford, Dunn, Boberg, Van Ackeren, and we wait for the rest of the field to cross the line. But not going to lie, I was kind of clenching when I saw Morrow trying to go around the outside into the last chicane. That would have worked if there was a chicane there, but not that flat out section.
Yeah, I had a premonition of him going down the inside, and then I thought, oh, outside, this could go in the iRacing top 10 highlights. If he could pull that one off. Did the right thing, just lifted out of it and let that 1 point go. It wasn't worth it for Chuck Murray, as we see a few more of these drives, some very competitive drives as well, all picking up faster pairs. The drivers get a faster pair each of the races. That means they can just get back to the pits or tow back to the pits and completely have their car fixed. So that's why we have so many finishes. Even then, a few drivers did not get to the finish, however. Yeah, just a couple more drives to get across the line. Another shout out, by the way, to another one of our sponsors for this broadcast, SDK Gaming, who provide our lovely overlay that you can see with all the panels and the timing tower course that you saw before, the battle boxes, the track maps, and all of that fantastic elements. Pretty much anything you could hope for, SDK Gaming has. Yeah, you can check out sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to download the software, which is absolutely the go-to software if you're looking to stream, commentate, or broadcast, or even have a heads-up display on iRacing, so do check them out. Here is the results then. Marteau at the top, then it's Paolo Drayta, Stephen Westerhoff, Daniel Savisabe and Brian Crane, and yeah, Bell, Brunstad and Murray battling for that top place in the amateur category. Redford, Dunn, Boberg, Van Ackeren holding on to 12th position, Bualeg on his debut in 13th, Justin Negrete in 14th, Dave McDonald, Christian Engelhardt, Steve Brown, Florian Beer. That's at the top 18, and the rest of the order will cycle through for you. We should be, yeah, we're currently in the warm-up session at the moment before we have race 2 of the evening. So we are going to show you the Virtual Racing School commercial, which is another sponsor for for this broadcast and for the championship. And yeah, this video is just going to show you a little bit on what Virtual Racing School offers. So we'll be back with you in just a moment on Apex Racing TV.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 VRS Super Series. Once again, big thanks to Virtual Racing School for helping us out on Apex Racing League for this championship, for sponsoring this championship. And just a reminder as well that Virtual Racing School and Apex Racing Academy are integrated into one another. So if you get the 2 subscriptions, then you can have all your setups in the right places, all very nicely laid out. So big thanks to Virtual Racing School. 30 more seconds of warm-up to go. That was a pretty crazy race 1. Jack, do you think that the drivers may learn a few lessons and we might see a little bit of a more normal race, or could, because of the fact that we got a slightly more mixed up grid for this race 2, could that mean that we have even more crazy race than the first 15 minutes?
I think it could be a bit worse with everybody mixed up. I mean, it could be a case that it gets a little bit more crazy. I think that what the drivers will have learned is maybe not to push the limits of the track too early because of those spins. The tires won't quite have got up to temperature yet, and that might be what would have caught people out in that early phase of the race. But the feature race is going to be good. All the points on offer in the feature as well. There's your grid in front of you.
Yeah, Marto looking to get another double. That would be the 3rd double of the season by 3 different drivers, which would be pretty cool. With Harlow Drates looking for his 3rd race win of the season, up there on the front row. Then it's Stephen Westerhoff, Daniel Save and Brian Crone. It's the finishing order of race 1. Basically, there's no reverse grid, nothing like that, but the field is that much more mixed up because we had so many problems for so many drivers. There's quite a few top drivers at the back of the order who'll have to do some work. Bart Delman, for example, qualified up in the top 5, but he will be starting in 20th place after a disastrous race 1. Kevin Kirsman, amateur championship leader, at least going into this meeting, starting all the way down in 25th. A lot of work for the German to do. And so we have got almost everyone on the grid. Buerleg is not going to take this one, it seems, but everyone else is prepared for this time a 20-minute race here at Zolder. Can Marteau go for the double? We are away racing. There's a little bit of contact near the back of the order, and already looking like it could be 4 wide between the leaders down into toe 1, and it's an inspirational start from Steve Westbrook, but he spins round, and it is Marteau after all who takes the lead, and we've got 2 or 3 other collisions going on in the background as well. Brunstad up into 2nd position, and in fact Brunstad's going for the lead because Marteau, maybe he's got a bit of damage, but looking very slow for a second there. Now goes round the outside through the right-hander. You'll have the better line for the chicane, and after seeing 4 wide into the first corner, can we even see 3 wide into the chicane this time round? Marteau pulling away from the rest of the order, but now there's big contact over the curb. Crone runs wide, he drops down just as he did up in race 1, and also Brunstad picking up a slowdown, or perhaps even damage after absolutely launching himself over the curves right there. But that was quite and now we've got Brunstad round as well, and Sivi Sabo, who both got very good starts, and now more drivers spinning around. That's the car number 7, Delman, Arafag, Smith, De Silva, all having big problems right there. And well, that was yeah, I think you're right, Jack. That first corner though, what on earth happened there? It was 4 wide for a moment, and it was really spectacular.
Oh, Kevin Kittles was just spun as you were saying that as well, in the same spot. We've seen somebody go up, but yeah, that was exactly as I predicted. Even more chaos. 4 wide into the first corner. Westerhoff got it stopped, and now we got another spin. Van Ackeren, has he done exactly what Connor Bell did last time? It seems to me he has. That car's crabbing, and he's had to tow back to pit lane. But somehow Marteau came out the winner of that. Connor Bell remained in second. Redford's made a rocket ship start up to third place. It's McDonald in fourth. Chuck Morrow with Negrete fighting for the AM class position at the moment. You see him trying to defend there because he got Shane Dunn behind them as well. Also trying to make up places. Jordan Kelly's had an absolute flyer of a start. Look where he is, 9th from where he started. He started all the way down at about 20th place. So Jordan Kelly's made a rocket ship start from the back. And Drake has ended up down at 13th. Vesterhoff down at 16th. Does he have another lunge up the inside? Jordan Kelly trying to fend off. He's actually spun, I think, Jordan Kelly. So as soon as I mentioned him, sorry, Jordan. That was Brian Crown trying to make a position on Shane Dunn. He's trying to recover after his small excursion off as well. But as soon as I mentioned him, Jordan, what have you done? He's come down into the braking zone for the chicane. Has he got it a bit wrong? The answer is yes, he has. Hot that curb and round he went. And just as he did in race number 1, had a great start and basically ends up where he started again. But it's Marteau, Bell, Redford, McDonald, your top 4, and your AM class is Morrow and Negrete. We have somebody come out of the pit lane. Oh dear, what's going on there? Negrete, as soon as I mentioned him, he's gone off the road. Shane Dunn now, it moves up in front of him. So he's gone wide in the first corner. He has to take a very wide excursion right there. Bober's trying to slot up the middle there, the Swede, up the inside of the American here for the next corner. But Negrete cuts him off around the outside. But yeah, it's certainly been a crazy one already in this early phase of the race. And I expect nothing less from F3 cars, honestly.
Yeah, it's very interesting how you're saying how it was Kelly's fault for spinning when it was obviously the biggest commentator's curse of all I've seen all year. That was perfect, especially saying that he's your countryman as well. That was absolutely lovely.
He's going to kill me.
Yeah. So Redford then, this is the closest battle at the front. McDonald in 4th position. McDonald, of course, had that slowdown in race 1 and a couple of other problems to McDonald. He started in this race in 15th, but he's got the pace. We absolutely know that, as Paolo Drater's just got past Jack Holland, who spun at that hairpin, which usually isn't such a big problem, but everyone's been struggling to get the power down, and Holland falling way down the order. Meanwhile, Boberg trying to come back against Negrete, but he didn't go for it there. I wonder if we could get a replay of that race start, because I kind of looked away just as we saw the spin. It was absolutely spectacular. Unfortunately, I can't see this one. Check, it's not quite coming up for me, but can you see?
Yes, I can. So we're going to look from Daniel Civizzabo's perspective here. Away they went. It was a poor start from the pole sitter, and then they just naturally end up 4 wide. Vesterhoff is on the inside. He goes a little bit deep. He manages to get it stopped, but it was actually contact from Civizzabo on the outside that caused the spin for the 2 cars in front. But unfortunately, Vesterhoff just lost it by himself going up the inside. He spun in front of Marteau, and Marteau was the one who came out okay out of that one. Let's just see it again. This is Vesterhoff we're going to have a look at now. So he's the car we're going to ride on board with for this start. So let's look ahead. Let's listen to the start. Beautiful. Absolutely no wheel spin right there. Marteau gets slow away. So this is what he's seeing right now. He's seeing clear track in front of him. Goes up the inside. No contact from behind. There's the contact behind. He just loops it around by himself. Too much speed into turn 1. And Marteau judged that beautifully. He saw that coming. And round he went, and it seems that that might be a massive Moses effect from Hugh Marteau into turn number 1, because every car crashed around him.
Yeah, his 3 main rivals for that race gone in an instant. Absolutely lovely from his perspective, but bad news for the others. But yeah, that was pretty mental down into turn 1, and yeah, that's 4 wide for him. Because the cold tyres really a big problem in this Formula 3 car. It's not quite as bad as what it was when the new tyre model came out, when Charles was struggling to get it off the line, but it's still a massive problem as he head into turn 1 for the first time. So Brian Crane trying to undo some of the damage from that chicane on their first lap. He managed to get through all that mess, was up in 3rd position, but then ran wide when battling with another driver. But he's doing a very similar recovery job to race 1, where he managed to get back up into 5th place. And this will be interesting. Is he flat through here? I think there may have been a slight lift, but you can pick up the draft now as they really get to some high speeds. Turn 1 does open up quite a bit. It's quite a wide entry, but Crane having to bide his time. Chuck Mara, despite of course being an amateur driver, no slouch, and he's defending comfortably at the moment.
Yeah, he was quick. He gets a little bit on the curb right there. You can see Kroon gets a nice run at him now up towards the next corner. Now, it's not really an overtaking opportunity down to the chicane, but he might be forced to go alongside here. Is he going to stay behind here? Kroon, he looks at it inside. He's alongside, but you can hear him kind of lifting up. But is that Mauro letting him through there, just backing off into the chicane? His fight is not with him, so he lets him through, and Brian Crown moves up into 5th place. Of course, Chuck Mauro is about close to 6 seconds up the road from Shane Dunn, so he's fine where he is. This is Connor Bell. He's in some traffic. That's Damien McMullen that's in front of him. Will Redford's actually all over him. You can see him right behind him. There's Connor Bell. He's going to look up the inside of McMullen in the 299. And Will Redford is going to be the next car to try and get past him here up into the last corner. This is a dodgy place to catch traffic for Will Redford. He's going to have to stay behind going into the last corner, get the slipstream, and Will Redford is also going to get a run. Connor Bell is going to get a run on the car in front as well. McMullen holds the inside, backs off into the braking zone, and it's going to be a little bit caught up there for Will Redford behind the 225, and he eventually gets through, but not the best place to be catching traffic there for Will Redford. But he has a chance at second here, Will Redford, if he keeps it together. As there's been a scrap here between Negrete and Shane Dunn, who's trying to go up the inside of him there. Shane Dunn gets alongside him and pulls in front into the right-hander, so Shane Dunn moves up to second in the AM class, but Negrete will have the run on the way out down to the chicane. He has the outside. This is going to be tricky now for the American, who's going to back out first into the chicane. They're also going to go side by side. They leave each other room. You can see how narrow it is, and Boberg says he's going to try and make his way through here. He's alongside Negrete as they head down to the next breaks over the chicane. Paulo Dreta in the 182 is watching in the wings behind, but he lets Paulo Dreta through at the same time. But that just shows you cannot go side by side to that chicane. There is literally no room. They had to both back out, both go over the curves. They gave each other enough respect, but it's way too narrow there.
Yeah, you may have just seen Bryce Carter as well, nearly reversing into these guys. We're just into the shadows, but they managed to avoid him there. And yeah, that was super close. And yeah, it's just not an overtaking spot. It's almost a gentleman's agreement not to go alongside there because doesn't function really well. Does that chicane as we have Negrete going for the overtake on Dunn, but Dunn just taking an alternative racing line as Drayton is also just trying to recover some points here. Jason might be the leader of the championship coming out of this meeting. I guess it will probably be Marteau in fact, but still, if you can maybe get up to 7th position, is probably as far as it's going to get, seeing that he's 10 seconds behind, or 7 seconds behind Chuck Mauro at the moment. Drayton some time to do this one with 10 minutes left of this feature race. More points available for this race than the 15-minute race we saw earlier on, so even more important is each position. Drayton though couldn't fashion a move on that occasion as well, as we see Connor Bell and Will Redford very close. So Redford drops back in the traffic, but he's been able to make up plenty of time on this lap, and this is looking very handy as they really accelerate fast onto the pit straight. Going for the standard defensive block there is Bell, but Redford trying to get the cut back again now. Again going defensive, this is going to lose these two drivers a lot of time on this part of the circuit. Redford is very close, but around this corner is particularly tricky. He's going to try to go all the way around the outside now. He's the British driver, and they risk being alongside again for the chicane. Hopefully they'll agree who's going to go first, and it seems like it will be Bell to hold on to second place, but hopefully this battle will continue for the remaining laps.
Yes, great stuff from the both of them here as they head down into sector 2 into another chicane. Redford gets onto him there, tap in the rear, but they managed to keep it together. Will Redford backed it out at the last moment right there, just carrying way more speed in. Gave him a little love tap, all is well. They carry on between the two of them, but Redford is desperate to get past the Canadian here as they head on to sector number 3. This is just allowing Marteau to get away even more. It might also allow McDonald to close, and he's not far off them. You can see he's only about 2 seconds behind. Oh dear, we got a tangle. That is Derek Collins, who has just been caught up there, I believe, with another car. Yeah, Florian Beer, and that was a car that was a lap down. So that's just happened there. This battle carries on. Negrete and Paulo Dreta, as well as Shane Dunn, who's actually got away a little bit from him down the front straight. So Paulo Dreta, he's in the pro class, of course, so he's just trying to make his way through. Oh, he's going to spin in front of him. Round goes Negrete, and Paulo Dreta, great driving. He has to take avoiding action. There was absolutely nowhere he could go, and he still ends up behind him, and they carry on racing.
Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. You'll see a replay. He made about 20 different choices there in the space of a second. You can see him spinning early and then thinks, oh, I'll go up the inside. No, he's not actually. He's probably going to spin onto the tarmac. So he goes onto the gravel instead. Distance between them at this point now. McDonald 9.6 seconds off the lead, just with a poor lap. Really letting these guys off the leash. So it should just be a straight fight. Shouldn't have to worry about who's ahead. Shouldn't have to worry about who's behind either. Dreta's also going to get past Negrete here into 11th position. Or just staying behind. In fact, is Dreta for the time being, remaining in 12th place here. He is. He was very close down into turn 1. Couldn't quite get the move done, and yeah, Dreta's been fairly passive, I'd say, so far tonight, Jack, compared to the other drivers at least. He's really been letting them off as Kelly storms through up into 8th place.
He's done a good recovery, Jordan Kelly. I'm not going to say anything more than that because I know what happened last time. He was up to 8th place, so let's go back to Connor Bell so I don't say anything. Connor Bell still in front of Will Redford. Marteau is 5.2 seconds up the road. Not long left in this race right now, so just coming up on the 5 minutes to go mark. They're about to cross the line now, 14.5 minutes gone. So you can see now, Will Redford still in the slipstream. He's not been able to really find a way through. You can see they're so evenly matched on time right there. Connor Bell, personal best on the previous lap. So on board with Will Redford now through turn number 2. Connor Bell just getting a nice run out there, just taking out a wider line, but able to carry more speed on the way out. So Redford on the limiter on the way through turn 3 and 4. As you can see, Negrete now, is he still in that same position? He is indeed, but Dreta's still stuck behind him. So let's go back to Connor Bell. He's still in front of Will Redford here as they come over the crest of the hill in the 133, trying to hang on. He's heading to the chicane now. This is where Redford tapped him earlier. Gets close this time, but Connor Bell is just doing enough right now to stay in front because there's not a hell of a lot of overtaking opportunities around Zolder. So there's a few places he knows he needs to defend. He knows where Redford's stronger than him, and he's doing enough right at the moment to keep him behind. And he's already had a tap in the rear, and he's carried on and recovered from it. And he's actually, at the same time, they're actually kind of closing in a little bit on Marteau. Not much, but the gap is down to about 4.9 seconds, so about maybe 3.4 tenths, 18.0 for Marteau, but a good run for Will Redford this time, down towards turn 1. He's going to go for that outside sweeping run round the outside for Will Redford. He's braving it round the outside in turn 1. That turns to the inside for turn 2. Does he get it done? The Canadian's on his outside looking for the switchback line underneath it, but no, Will Redford brave round the outside, brilliant stuff, but that's not going to end right now. Connor Bell going to look to the inside for turn 3. They go side by side again, but it's Will Redford around the outside still in front. That battle's going to carry on, but Will Redford, brilliant stuff round the outside of turn 1. Not an easy move to pull off. Connor Bell's going to look up the inside of the chicane. Redford leaves him room, but they still carry on scrapping round up the hill right now, but clean racing between the both of them, brilliant stuff. But Redford braved it around the outside and is still having to fend this Canadian off. There's not long left in this race, but this is great racing between both of them.
And now they're dealing with traffic as well, so just having to go offline for a moment there. Was Redford. Oh, that's going to be into the wall, and probably debris across the circuit as well onto the roof. And that is a huge impact there for Steve Brown. He's back on his way. Come on, mate. Get back on it. No, he's played back to the pit, so that is Brian's day over. He was already not going to score points because he's 5 laps down. Here is a replay, so he's already, oh man, and he collided with, I think, one of the Indy Autosports drivers. I imagine I was concerned that might be the race leader, but it wasn't, as we are going to have to cut back to second position because Bell does not know when to give up here. He is trying to come back with all of his might, super aggressive down into the chicane on that last lap, couldn't get it done. He's staying close though, and that might just help him out. A little bit of turbulent air as well in these cars. You would think that the turbulence would be stronger than the slipstream, but looking the way that Bell has been able to come back, maybe that is not the case. As we see a replay, and that was just a perfect defending there from Redford. Never left a car's width on the inside, and he was able to fend off when, of course, Bell was unable to fend off on the previous lap.
Yeah, Redford saw that move on the outside coming. He just kept it tight on the inside, ran Connor Bell out of room on the outside line. There's nothing really you could do, and he's actually pulled a small gap right now, but he's still very much in slipstream range here, Connor Bell, so still lots of time. Well, not really that much time, but he's still in the draft, which is the key point here. 18 minutes gone, so about 2 minutes remaining in this race. 18-1 for Marteau on the previous lap. This will be slower for these guys this time by. Connor Bell not as close this time than he was. 18-1 for Redford, 18-7 for Connor Bell, 6/10. There is Chuck Morrow leading the AM class by a comfortable margin at the moment. So Chuck Morrow trying to get himself a win in the AM class. There's your AM class standings overall. Half the grid's in the pit lane, as you can see. Chuck Morrow leads, Shane Dunn is second, you have Ricard Boberg, Negrete, Kevin Kittleman has recovered up to 5th place in the AM class. You have Engelhardt, Daleman, Brunstad, Silva, McMullen, Van Ackeren, and Bear. You have Derek Holland in the pits, Smith's in the pits, Roggenbuch, Carter, Brown, Arafag, and Boualeg, who did not take the starts of this race, but Chuck Morrow is your leader. As we go back now, this is the battle for 4th between David McDonald and Brian Cruan, who is trying to get himself up the order a little more, trying to get himself double top 5s even after everything. And Cruan getting pretty close to him, but this is also a battle going on back here. This is Drata getting past, that'll be Boberg, who he gets past, so Drata recovers. So he eventually did manage to get past to Negrete. But back to these guys right now, it's getting pretty intense for P4 between the Dutchman and the American. And the white flag is out. You can see the flagman waving it, so it's the last opportunity for Cruan. He's going to try to go around the outside of McDonald, but can't quite find the room that he needs to go around that outside. Only Redford was able to pull that off. But let's see now as they head round the 3rd corner. Turns 1 and turns 2, up towards turn 3 into 4. It'll be McDonald still at the head of the field. Not an overtaking opportunity down into this chicane. There's Connor Bell just going through in the foreground of shot. You can see Chuck Morrow just coming into view in the back. But let's see a good run for Cruan this time. Over the top of the hill they come for the last time tonight. Good run from him in the 194. He's going to look to that inside the chicane. McDonald leaves in the room on the inside. Cruan tries to go late on the brakes. McDonald tries to do it, but Cruan finds some space on the inside. But again, McDonald come back at him around the outside into the next part of the circuit. Round into sector 3, still side by side, inside line, no. Cruan has to back off. It'll be McDonald hanging in the middle of the road right now and hangs on to this position. There's going to be a tap in the rear, but no way through from Marteau. Does the double at Zolder in his car right there in the 166. Absolutely nobody could come near him today. He does the double. Will Redford is second. Connor Bell will get 3rd, and it will be McDonald who hangs on for that 4th place. Back here, this is Drata up the inside of Shane Dunn, who's trying to get 2nd in the AM class. It's Chuck Morrow who will win the AM class in the feature race. Jordan Kelly recovers to 7th. Westerhoff, Drata will hang on to P9 in class. Shane Dunn will get 2nd in the AM class, just ahead of Boberg. Not much between them there. Negrete, then it'll be Kevin Kittleman, who's trying to hang off his German counterpart of Christian Engelhardt. Up towards the last corner they will come. There's not really anywhere that Engelhardt can go. Is Kevin Kittleman going to move out of the way from him? He's going defensive in towards the last corner just a little bit. Here we go, gets a little bit out of shape. Going to be a run for the line between the two Germans. Here we go, going to be very close. He moves to the outside, but it should be Kittleman ahead over the line. Engelhardt, Daleman, Brunstad. Then it'll be, that of course, a shame for Brunstad early on, taken out earlier on. But as you mentioned, Sam, the stats continue. That's our third double winner in 3 rounds.
Yeah, and probably to the top of the standings as well, one might say. It wasn't a perfect Nürburgring opening round of the championship, and certainly wasn't perfect at Imola either, but finally putting it all together and to the helm of the championship. Still 7 more rounds of the series to go, so it could all still change, but no, very impressive performance right there. And yeah, we should be able to go through the final results as long as all the drivers have crossed the line. Should be able to do that, and then we hope to have a chat with 1 or 2 of the drivers as well. But there is, yeah, Marto at the top. Honestly, he's shown pace throughout the season for that result, and finally has delivered it. Will Redford finishing in 2nd position, continuing his good form. He'll be pretty close to the top of the standings as well after tonight. Connor Belt was in 3rd, 2 podiums for him tonight, and then Dave McDonald, Brian Crone with 2 5th places, which is remarkable considering the adventures he had out there. Chuck Mowry, highest scoring amateur driver of the night with a 1st and a 2nd, and probably to the top of that championship as well for him. Jordan Kelly making so many places in race 2. Stephen Westhoff, Paolo Drater and Shane Dunn rounding out the top 10. Then it was Ricard Boberg, Justin Negrete, Kevin Kittelman, good recovery actually from Kittelman, up 12 places from his race 2 start. Christian Engelhardt was in 14th, then it was Bart Delman, Simon Brunstad, Daniel Silva, Daniel Silvi-Sabe, Damien McMullen, Rick Van Ackeren, Florian Beer, Aaron Smith, Bryce Carter, Derek Holland, Alexander Rockenbuck, Steve Brown, Ismail Arapag, and Mohamed Boaleg, who did not take the start, interestingly, Mohamed, for that 2nd race. You can see everyone down to Van Ackeren scoring points, so about a quarter of the field, more than a quarter of the field, but less than a third, 30% of the field not scoring points in that race. So we will be able to have a chat with 1 or 2 of the drivers now, and first up I think we'll have a talk with Will Redford, who joins us now in the commentary box. Congratulations out there, Will. It wasn't the perfect race 1, but a very good race 2 in the end. Take us through that race 1 actually, because he starts in 3rd, but like many others had some problems and ended up in 9th. Talk us through it.
So good pace, rookie mistakes pretty much. I was on pace for pole in qualifying going into the hairpin, and then my brake mark is actually a shadow, so it moved very slightly and I overshot the hairpin. So lost out on pole and started P3, and then tried to chase down a leader. Didn't quite work. I got too aggressive on the curbs and lost it. I think he was running a slightly softer setup because I was kind of following his line and then lost it on the curb. And then tried to bring it back. I did, got into a position I was about to take P3, and then car in front got a little edgy on the exit and I touched him and it spun my car around, and then back to 10th again, and I just tried to bring it home at that point.
Yeah, but then 2nd race, the opposite. Instead of going backwards, you were going forwards. We'd just seen your race start on stream. You just hugged the inside, and that was enough. That must have been pretty satisfying to just go past all those drivers.
Oh yeah, it was a nice feeling, but it was also very scary because you've got all these cars like spinning in front of you, you're like 4 wide, and you're just hoping that no one's going to hit you, and I was lucky enough that I made it through it all.
And then you pulled off a pretty epic move on Connor. In fact, your entire battle with Connor was really entertaining for us to watch. What did you do differently on that lap? I mean, were you that much closer, or were you taking it a bit more pace into Tower 1? I mean, what was the difference?
I think I just got a much better run down the out the hairpin and then down into the straight, and then through the chicane. I think Connor went a little bit wide, which let me get a bit closer through there. And then I was on a limiter all the way down the straight, so I couldn't pull alongside. So I just tried to send it around the outside, and if I got alongside, then he'd have to give him his space, and that's what happened.
After tonight, you're going to be very close to the summit of the championship after 3 rounds and with 7 to go. Is that the aim, the overall title?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to see how far up I can get on the order. This full league is my first time in the F3 car, so it's kind of I'm still learning as I go along, but it's going well so far. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that's not what the opposition want to hear. In case you do get faster, well, congratulations on your good results tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Shout out to my dad for watching and commenting in chat, and shout out to my sponsor, Nest in the Woods.
Awesome. Best of luck for fortnight's time, Will.
Thank you.
So that was Will Redford with a 9th and a 2nd tonight. Jack, I think we've got... well, the drivers aren't very good at finding the interview waiting area, so you have actually got 3 choices, which, in case you scroll down the Discord enough. So who will you like to have a chat with now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, somebody's kindly moved them around for me there. Let's have a chat with the other half of that battle. Let's have a look with our Connor Bell, who joins us in the chat right now. Connor, we were just chatting with Will right there about your battle in race number 2. It was an exciting one, but your own race, a lucky escape in race 1 and a podium in the second one. That last corner, a bit of a scary one at Zolder.
Yeah, I was really having trouble there today. Don't know why. Just super slippery. But yeah, definitely screwed up my first heat, but and had some close calls there in the feature. But overall, it was an alright day.
Yeah, absolutely, fantastic battle with Will Redford in race number 2. But yeah, what's the thoughts on the alternate layout of Zolder? It's a layout that doesn't exist in real life. Does the last corner provide better racing, or is it just a little bit awkward to get through?
It's alright. I mean, I don't really have a preference between both layouts. I think it does take away a bit from the overtaking opportunities. In the regular layout, that final chicane definitely is one of the better overtaking spots on the track. But yeah, it's not bad. Definitely a challenging final chicane though on the alternate layout. Absolutely.
And after those results, you're looking pretty good. Up towards the sharp end of the championship. Still plenty of rounds left. Plenty of confidence going forward.
Yeah. Mainly, I'm just hoping to get a top 3 in the championship. I think I might be 2nd or probably 3rd after today. But yeah, I wasn't actually planning on coming out today. Just happened to rush in and just get in time, so didn't really get a lot of warm up. But I don't have a problem with this being a drop week. So yeah, hopefully we get some better racing in the next few rounds, and yeah, hopefully the championship goes well.
Great stuff, Connor. Thanks for jumping in with us. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thank you to or a shout out to?
Not really at this time. Shout out Connor Wagner for the setup, but that's about it.
Connor, thanks for jumping in. Congratulations on your podium and feature race. We'll chat to you in 2 weeks' time.
All right, thanks, guys.
So that was Connor Bell, who took a podium in the feature race and got away very, very lucky in race 1, going backwards into a concrete wall at high speed in the last corner, which I've not seen done before. So, Sam, we've got 2 more standing by. You have your pick. It's either Chuck or Simon, so pick who you want.
Well, I'll go for our highest scoring amateur driver of the night. It is Chuck Murray, who managed to score an 8th and a 6th tonight. Congratulations, Chuck. That is a brilliant evening of racing. Whilst everyone else was crashing, you managed to avoid it all.
Yeah, it was management. It was literally crash management, and you know, actually had a really good race this time around, and I actually remembered to put enough fuel in the car this time, which is always good. And yeah, pretty happy with the result today.
Absolutely. Yeah, talk us through race 1, because I didn't realize that you started down in 19th place, because you managed to get through the order fairly quick. But how were those first couple of laps from your perspective in that race 1?
It was I had a bad qualifying. My practice was kind of bad. I was a little worried about the race because I had a lot of incidents and off tracks, and somehow right before when it counted, I put it all together and was able to keep it on the track and just make some positions and stick to my normal pace.
And after this round, we're heading to Montreal. We've got a week's break and then Montreal. Is that one that you enjoy? What do you think the race is going to be like around there?
Yeah, I do enjoy Montreal. A little bit tighter of a track, might be a little bit harder to pass, but we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Chuck. Is there anyone you'd like to give any thanks to?
Yeah, I'd like to give a big shout out to my wife, as always. She's always very supportive. And also to Crew Chief. Nobody ever shouts out to Crew Chief. Crew Chief is great. And I got to give a shout out to you guys as well as iRacing Service.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Chuck. And we'll see you back next time.
Sounds good. Thanks. Bye now.
Chuck Marrow there. The highest scoring amateur driver might well be at the top of the amateur championship after tonight. Jack, we got one more interview.
Yes, we do. Let's have a chat with our Race 1 amateur winner. Let's hop in and have a chat with Simon Brunstad. Simon, thanks for hopping in with us. Of course, the Race 1 amateur victory holding off Chuck Morrow, but Race 2 didn't go to plan. Talk us through it.
Yeah, that was absolute chaos through turn 1 and 2, basically. Cars crashing left and right, the whole pro field being off, and I found a gap, managed to get through, and tried to stick with Marteau, but he got away. Unfortunately, I had an accident in the first chicane. I got a slowdown, had to let some cars pass, and then when I was sort of ready to rejoin the race, someone spun in front of me, and I hit them, and lost my wing. My steering wheel was 90 degrees to the left just to go straight, so I had to pit, fortunately, probably down to like 20th. So yeah, didn't have the most stellar drive today. Pretty much training for the Nürburgring race as well this week, so not enough training, and I'm a bit shaky. I had a hard night with whiskey last.
A hangover, right?
Yeah.
That explains a lot, right? I've driven with one of those before, not fun. But you mentioned the Nürburgring 24 hours. Is your team still running? How are you getting on?
Yeah, we're still running. I haven't put in my first laps yet. They started 8 hours ago or something. I think we're running third right now. So hopefully we'll stay there on the podium.
Yeah, best of luck to all of you guys there. Now, 2 weeks' time, we go to Montreal over in Canada. So, track kind of similar to here, maybe a little bit wider. How are you feeling going into that one?
I raced another league last year, so I put in a lot of practice for Montreal. So hopefully that was in the PM18, but pretty much transferable with the lines and everything. So I'm hoping to capitalize on that and hopefully get a podium next time out.
Yeah, we look forward to a week break now between this and Montreal. But Simon, thanks for hopping in with us. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thank you to or a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to everyone that's racing. It's a lot of awesome racing. I want to thank my team and my coach, Suelo Almeida.
Well, absolutely. Simon, we'll let you go back and prepare for the 24 hours. Thanks for hopping in with us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Have a good night.
I'm sure plenty of drivers, Sam, will be hopping out to go do their stints in the 24 hours. I'm not competing this time, but I wish them all the best of luck. It's not easy.
No. FD's Van Zolder is tricky. I would probably rather be racing FD's Van Zolder than doing the 24 hours, though, especially when your teammates have kept it out of the walls for 8 hours and you're jumping in for the first time. Quite a bit of pressure on that one, but of course, best of luck to all the drivers and best of luck to anyone who's watching as well for all the 24 hours because, well, you need it. of course, big thanks once again to all our sponsors for this championship virtual racing school, SDK Gaming, and also Apex Racing Academy. Make sure to check out all of them. There's links to each one of them in the description below. And yeah, thanks to them for helping us out on Apex Racing TV. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, because then you're more likely to be able to catch future events, especially this series, the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 VRS Super Series. And of course, if you want to watch all of our other Apex Racing TV series, then subscribe to Apex Racing TV. Also check out our social media as well, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where we're posting little highlights of each of our series. Whenever something entertaining happens, we're straight over to social media to post it on there. So to see all the best bits from our broadcast, do check out our profiles on on those social media platforms. We will have a break week next week, but then we will be back at Montreal for meeting 4 of the championship. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Jack Canan, and from Marco Barbier, it is another double, this time for Marto. See you in Canada in a fortnight's time. See you then.